Imagine you're just opening up a consumer app on your phone,
Okay.
and on one tab, you're swiping through this highly produced virtual reality civics lesson. Like maybe you're practicing a debate on local urban zoning.
Sure, sounds like a pretty standard ed tech thing so far.
Right, right. But then you switch to the next tab, and suddenly you are looking at a crowdfunding dashboard that is literally brokering a $100 million deal for military drones to arm a shadow government.
Which is quite the pivot from urban zoning.
Exactly. It's wild. But today, we're looking at a startup pitch that genuinely believes it can do both of those things seamlessly on the exact same platform.
Yeah, it really reads like a geopolitical thriller, but it was written by a venture capitalist.
I know, right?
It completely throws out that standard Silicon Valley playbook. Like normally an app is just trying to optimize your grocery delivery or, shave 2% off a corporate payroll system.
Make things slightly more convenient.
Exactly. But here we're looking at a founder who wants to take the raw, historically explosive energy of an actual political revolution and essentially funnel it through a scalable software interface.
That's incredible. So welcome to today's deep dive, everyone. We are thrilled to have you with us. Today's Thursday, June 11th, 2026.
Thanks for having me back.
Of course. And for you listening, today we're digging into a single, just incredibly dense piece of source material. It's a blog post published literally today by an author named Paramendra Bhagat.
And this post is basically an executive summary, right?
Yeah, it's an executive summary and a full-blown startup pitch for a highly ambitious company called Liber8.
And I think what's really demanding our attention here isn't just the technology itself. It's the sheer, unadulterated scale of the ambition.
Oh, absolutely.
Like this pitch isn't just asking for seed money to build a minor feature. It is attempting to conjure an entirely new category of technology out of thin air.
Out of absolutely nothing.
Right. It's a blueprint that tries to merge autonomous artificial intelligence, high-stakes finance, the immense aggregate wealth of global diasporas, and high-level defense strategy, all into one single app.
So our mission today, with you listening, is to really deconstruct this pitch, just layer by layer. We're going to look at the genesis of this proposed tech category.
Which they call DemocracyTech.
Right. And we'll look at the specific, highly targeted groups they actually want to onboard first. Plus, the mind-bending AI they plan to use.
And we can't forget the financial strategy.
Oh man, the finances. A strategy that pivots from selling branded hoodies to literally dealing with defense contractors. Okay, let's unpack this, because before we can even get into the wild revenue models, we really have to understand the brand identity itself. So the company name is spelled Liber8.
The number 8.
The number 8, yeah. And the source actually stops in the middle of the text to instruct the reader on the pronunciation. It specifically says 3 syllables, Liber8.
Which is such a deliberate, almost jarring branding choice to make. Yeah.
How do you mean?
Well, you have this incredibly heavy, emotionally charged concept, right? Liberation, freedom from authoritarianism, people dying for their rights.
Yeah, very heavy stuff.
And they've dressed it up in this, Web3 classic Silicon Valley naming convention by swapping the final letters for a digit.
Like a skateboard brand or an energy drink?
Exactly. Though the document explicitly says it's meant to evoke freedom, empowerment, and tech-enabled change.
It just feels like massive cognitive dissonance to me.
Yeah.
You're branding deeply serious human rights struggles the exact same way you brand, I don't know, a cryptocurrency exchange.
It is a choice, for sure.
But I guess that aesthetic choice leads right into their broader ambition. Because they don't call themselves a social network anywhere in this pitch. They claim to be pioneering a new category called DemocracyTech.
Right.
Now, I've seen civic tech before, platforms like change.org where you sign a digital petition and you get to feel good about yourself for 5 minutes.
Sure.
So how is this DemocracyTech concept fundamentally different from just a petition site?
It's different because it's not a single utility. Like you said, civic tech is usually a single-use tool. A petition, a voter registration link. Right. DemocracyTech, at least as defined in this specific pitch, is an entire ecosystem.
An ecosystem.
Yeah. It synthesizes the viral, dopamine-driven community aspects of social media, but combines it with AI-powered organizing tools.
Okay.
And then it adds what they call Agentic AI, which we definitely need to dig into heavily later.
Oh, we will.
Plus, rigorous civic education and military-grade secure coordination that is designed for people living under actual physical threats. They are trying to build the entire infrastructure for political engagement. end to end.
That phrase you just used, entire infrastructure, that really hits the nail on the head. Because when you read their vision and mission statements in the document, they do not sound like a scrappy little startup.
No, they don't.
They sound like a manifesto for a digital nation state. Let me read the vision statement literally from the text. It says, accelerate democratic transitions and strengthen democracies worldwide through technology that organizes passion into impact. I actually kept circling that exact phrase in my notes. Organizes passion into impact.
It's a great tagline.
It is. Because historically, political passion is highly volatile.
Right.
It surges during a crisis, it floods the streets, everyone is energized, and then it dissipates. Because people have to go back to work, or they get exhausted, or the news cycle moves on.
Or the authorities crack down.
Exactly. What Liber8 is proposing here is that software can act as a literal battery for political energy.
A battery. Wow.
Storing that human passion, directing it, and then deploying it with algorithmic efficiency so it doesn't just fizzle out.
I mean, I'm not so sure about that, though. The best analogy I can think of for what they're trying to build, if I try to picture it on my phone, is like combining the addictive event planning of Facebook, right?
Plus the rigorous curriculum of a university civics department, and then slapping on the secure encrypted communications of the CIA, and it all just lives on your home screen.
That's a pretty accurate synthesis.
But the thing is, can you really put a user interface on human passion? It feels almost clinical. Like they're treating human political will like it's just another deployable digital asset, like server space or ad inventory.
What's fascinating here is that is exactly how the pitch frames it.
Really?
Yeah. They look at political activism, which we normally view as this noble, nonprofit endeavor that usually operates on, absolute shoestring budget.
Fake sales and donations.
Right. And they see an untapped, massively scalable market resource. They view the human desire for democracy as a total addressable market.
That is just what...
It's a completely ruthless yet fascinating capitalist lens applied directly to human rights.
Which brings us to the ultimate question for any platform this ambitious. Where do you even start?
You definitely can't just launch it everywhere all at once.
No, you can't just drop DemocracyTech onto the global Apple and Android app stores and expect the whole world to adopt it instantly. You need a massive combustible spark.
You need a highly motivated early adopter base.
Exactly. And the pitch specifically identifies their year 1 and year 2 focus, the tip of the spear. They are targeting the Iranian diaspora.
And to understand why a startup would look at the entire landscape of global geopolitics and choose this specific demographic as their launch pad, we really have to look at the market data they provide in the pitch.
Let's hear it.
The numbers they cite are pretty staggering. They estimate the Iranian diaspora to be anywhere from 4 to 6 million people or more spread globally.
4 to 6 million.
Yeah.
But it's not just the headcount that they care about, right?
Yeah.
The pitch hones in on very specific socioeconomic markers.
No way.
They don't just see a dispersed population, they see an affluent, highly educated powerhouse.
Yes, the text explicitly emphasizes that the median incomes of this group are well above average in their host countries. It points out that the diaspora contains many billionaires, high net worth individuals, and massive successes in tech, medicine, and finance.
So a lot of influence.
A ton of influence. They actually estimate the aggregate wealth of this specific diaspora to be in the trillions of dollars.
Trillions, with a T.
Trillions.
So you have millions of people, they're highly educated, and they're holding immense capital. But, I mean, just having money doesn't automatically mean you're going to download a new app.
No, you need a reason.
Right. What's the specific friction point Liber8 claims they're actually solving to these people?
The pitch identifies that this demographic has a fierce, deep-rooted emotional engagement and calls for secular democracy in their homeland.
Naturally.
However, the pitch describes their current organizing efforts as fragmented.
Fragmented.
Yes. So you have this massive reservoir of passion, capital, and a genuine desire for regime change, but it's scattered.
Like geographically.
Geographically, technologically, it's in different geographic hubs. They're using different chat apps like Telegram or WhatsApp, and they're led by different factions. Liber8 is stepping in and essentially saying, your problem is fragmentation. Our product is unification.
Okay, I have to stop and push back here for a second.
Go ahead.
Because this sounds incredibly clean on a PowerPoint slide, right? You are fragmented, we will unify you, download the app.
It sounds very simple when you pitch it to an investor.
Right, but we are talking about actual human beings with deep generational trauma. We are talking about incredibly complex, decades-old political factions and literal life-or-death stakes.
Absolutely.
Can a beautifully designed user interface actually fix deep sociological fractures? Can an app just smooth over massive ideological divides just by, putting everyone in the same encrypted group chat?
I mean, it is the central vulnerability of their entire thesis.
Right.
The founder is assuming that technological friction, like the sheer inability to communicate easily and securely, is the primary barrier to unified action.
They think it's a tech problem, not a people problem.
Precisely. They're betting that if you just remove that friction, if you gamify the organizing and provide totally secure channels, unity will be the natural byproduct.
That feels like a huge leap.
Whether that's sociologically true in the real world is highly debatable. But purely from a Silicon Valley business strategy standpoint, that is the calculated bet they are making.
And it is so important to remember here as we dig deeper into this, that you and I aren't evaluating the actual politics of Iran.
No, not at all.
Or the ethics of regime change, or taking any sides whatsoever in any international conflicts. We have to make that super clear to everyone listening.
Absolutely. We are strictly analyzing the business model and the pitch documentation provided in the source.
Exactly. We are looking at how a founder takes geopolitical strife and literally packages it for venture capitalists. The source explicitly outlines a plan to target this demographic for, quote, regime change support and post-regime planning. And our job today is purely to figure out how the software is actually supposed to execute that. Nothing more.
Exactly. We are just dissecting the architecture of the pitch. So if this highly motivated, well-funded diaspora is the fuel for this whole startup, we really need to look at the engine.
Let's do it.
How does this platform actually function on a technical level?
Yeah, let's pop the hood on the tech stack. Because the foundational layer, which they clearly see as totally non-negotiable, is what they call secure organizing.
Which you would definitely need.
Yeah. They list encrypted groups, event coordination, but they specifically highlight secure comms designed for bypassing censorship for links inside Iran.
Right.
But wait, authoritarian regimes can just shut down the entire internet at the ISP level. They do it all the time.
Yeah.
How does a consumer app bypass a national firewall?
Well, the pitch doesn't dive into the deepest source code, obviously, but when they talk about bypassing censorship in this specific context, they're usually referring to decentralized infrastructure.
Like what?
We're talking about things like mesh networks. That's where phones essentially bounce Bluetooth or Wi-Fi signals off each other directly, rather than relying on a central cell tower that the government controls.
Oh, wow. So if one phone has a connection, it passes it down the line.
Basically, yeah. Or they might be utilizing satellite pings. Or even steganography.
Steganography, what is that?
It's the practice of hiding secret political data inside completely innocuous-looking files, like encoding a manifesto into the pixels of a cute cat photo.
Seriously? That's incredible.
Yeah. It has to act like a digital subterranean tunnel. It needs to be completely invisible from the surface, but robust enough to carry huge amounts of coordination data without caving in when state authorities start actively hunting for it.
So that's the plumbing, essentially. It keeps you alive and it keeps you hidden.
Right.
But the thing that elevates this pitch from just being a secure WhatsApp clone into the realm of actual science fiction is their focus on AI.
Yes. The AI component is huge.
And they don't just say artificial intelligence. They specifically use the term agentic AI.
That is a very important distinction.
What is the actual mechanism there? Like, how is that different from me just asking ChatGPT to write a polite email to my city council?
The mechanism is entirely different. A standard AI chatbot, like the ones most people use today, is passive. It's just a reactive tool.
Right. I type a prompt, it gives me an answer.
Exactly. You prompt it, it responds, and then it basically goes back to sleep until you need it again.
Okay.
Agentic AI, on the other hand, implies autonomy. An agent has agency.
Okay, I follow.
You give it a broad goal, and it figures out and executes a multi-step plan to achieve that goal, all without needing you to hold its hand every single step of the way.
How does that actually play out for a user on Liber8, though? Walk me through a scenario.
Sure. So the pitch envisions personal AI agents trained specifically on civic education and policy analysis. The text explicitly mentions these agents, quote, drafting letters and monitoring news.
Okay.
So imagine an AI that knows your exact political profile, your specific goals, your red lines.
Like a digital twin of my politics.
Yes. And it constantly scans global news feeds and legislative dockets 24/7. It never stops.
Okay.
Let's say it identifies a new trade policy being proposed somewhere that hurts your specific cause. autonomously, without you doing anything, it drafts a legally sound, highly persuasive letter to the exact right international representative.
It just writes it.
It finds their contact info, writes the letter, and formats it perfectly. Then your phone just buzzes with a notification. It says, hey, I found this threat. I wrote this response. Swipe right to send.
That is wild. It's like every single user is handed their own tireless, super smart political lobbyist who just never sleeps.
That's the exact value proposition.
So you don't have to be a policy wonk. You don't have to spend hours researching parliamentary procedure or international law. The agent does all the heavy lifting of synthesizing the threat and formatting the weaponized response.
Right.
You just provide the final human authorization with a swipe.
And it goes even deeper than that. The pitch also talks about the AI performing what they call debate simulation.
Debate simulation.
Meaning you could literally sit in your living room and verbally argue your political points out loud against an AI that has been specifically trained on the counter-arguments of the opposing faction.
Or the authoritarian regime itself.
Exactly. You get to pressure test your rhetoric against a supercomputer before you ever take it out to the public square.
That ties right into their whole education and empowerment pillar. They essentially want to simulate the mechanics of democracy.
Yes, very heavily.
They propose interactive modules, gamified learning, and actual VR and AR simulations. Like you put on a virtual reality headset and practice parliamentary voting or local governance in a digital environment.
Right.
It's like they want to teach people how to run a country before they actually have a country to run.
Which is brilliant from an engagement standpoint. It keeps people hooked.
Yep.
But this introduces a massive technical and honestly philosophical hurdle.
Which is what?
Well, the text briefly mentions using collective AI for group decision-making.
Right. Because if I have my AI lobbyist and you have yours and 4 million other people have theirs, how do they agree on anything?
That is the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
If you have hundreds of thousands of passionate activists, all with slightly different priorities and factions, how does a centralized collective AI objectively synthesize all those conflicting desires into a single, unified group decision?
It sounds impossible.
How do you prevent algorithmic bias? Who gets to write the alignment parameters for the collective will of an entire diaspora? The math required to objectively weigh human political desires without accidentally skewing the results is just incredibly complex.
I mean, whoever controls that algorithm basically controls the movement.
Exactly.
And speaking of millions of dollars, we really need to talk about the money.
Yes, the financials.
Because building encrypted, state-resistant mesh networks and developing high-end VR simulations and training millions of personalized autonomous AI agents is obscenely expensive.
The compute alone would be staggering.
The server cost would be astronomical. So how does Liber8 actually plan to keep the lights on? Because the monetization strategy they lay out in this pitch is, well, it's wild.
It is genuinely one of the most aggressive, multi-tiered revenue models I have ever seen in a pitch deck.
So where do they start?
They are asking for an initial seed raise of $10 million at a $100 million post-money valuation.
Okay, let's just break that down for a second for you listening. A $100 million post-money valuation at the seed stage.
It's absurd.
For anyone unfamiliar, post-money just means what the company is theoretically worth immediately after the investors hand over their check. So they want $10 million, and they're essentially telling investors, with your money in the bank, we are now inherently worth $100 million.
Right.
Before they have even scaled a product. In Silicon Valley, that is the kind of valuation you give a seasoned founder who's already built 3 unicorns, not a brand new app that's just starting out.
But they are demanding a massive premium because they are explicitly telling investors, do not value us like a normal consumer app. Value us like Palantir mixed with Meta.
Wow.
And to justify that insane valuation, they outline a highly phased revenue strategy. The first stream is what they call Diaspora monetization.
Right, this is the grassroots tier. The text lists, donations, crowdfunding campaigns, premium features, events, and merchandise. Hold on, merchandise? They want to fund the overthrow of a government by selling branded hoodies and tote bags.
That is what it says.
That feels incredibly naive compared to the hyper-advanced agentic AI stack we just talked about.
It sounds totally jarring, I agree, but the pitch justifies it by pointing right back to the passion and the wealth of that demographic we discussed.
The affluent diaspora.
Right. They argue this is actually a high-margin and highly viral revenue stream. If an affluent user truly deeply believes that their monthly subscription fee or their augmented reality rally ticket purchase is directly funding the liberation of their homeland. price sensitivity just vanishes.
Oh, I see.
It's essentially monetizing ideological loyalty.
Okay, I can see the psychology there. People will pay anything for a cause they believe in.
Exactly.
But then the document takes a hard left turn into what they call sponsorships and partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't just say, you know, we will seek corporate sponsors.
No, they name names.
The pitch explicitly names a target. It outlines a plan to approach Elon Musk for a $100 million sponsorship.
Yes. They just casually drop a 9-figure ask to the richest man in the world right in the middle of the executive summary.
Wait, so they're just going to slide into Elon's DMs and ask for $100 million? Because they both happen to like the concept of free speech?
I mean, basically.
I guess you miss 100% of the shots you don't take?
Yeah.
But that is staggering. What is the actual hook they think will work on him?
Well, the pitch weaves together a few strategic threads. First, they tie this potential $100 million sponsorship to a South Africa customization of the platform.
Oh, appealing to his roots.
Right. They also cite an alignment with his very public stances on anti-authoritarianism and free speech.
Okay.
But the real bait is what they call XAI synergies.
XAI, that's his AI company.
Exactly. They are suggesting Liber8 could integrate with or serve as a massive global deployment ground for the AI models developed by Musk's own company. They literally advise pitching it not as charity, but as a strategic investment in global democracy and tech influence.
That is bold. But you know what? Even the Elon Musk wildcard pales in comparison to the next revenue stream.
It really does.
Because we go from selling hoodies to pitching billionaires to what the text calls defense and geopolitical revenue.
This is where things get really intense.
This is where the pitch completely shattered my expectations. The document literally outlines a plan to, quote, facilitate pledges from governments in waiting for $100 million plus in drones and tech from partners like Endural.
Just for a bit of context for the listener, Endural is a highly aggressive, incredibly successful defense technology contractor.
They make weapons.
Well, they build autonomous drones, border surveillance towers, and basically modern operating systems for the military. And the text notes they are currently valued in the tens of billions of dollars.
But wait, how does the logistical transition from app developer to literal arms broker actually work?
It's quite a leap.
How do you go from providing a secure chat room for student activists to facilitating the sale of military-grade autonomous drones? The legal and regulatory compliance alone would be an absolute nightmare.
Oh, the lawyers would be very busy.
How does a software platform even justify taking a cut of a defense contract?
If you follow the completely ruthless logic of the pitch, the leap actually makes structural sense.
Explain that to me.
So, Liber8's entire premise is that they are the central architects unifying a diaspora into a potent political force, right?
Right.
If that force successfully navigates a regime change, the activists suddenly become the new government. They transition from dissidents to a government in waiting. And the very first thing a nascent government needs to stabilize a country and secure its borders is advanced defense technology.
Oh, wow. I see it now.
Right. Liber8 is basically saying to their investors, we own the communication infrastructure of the future leaders of these nations. We have their ultimate trust.
We hold the keys.
Therefore, we are perfectly positioned to act as the trusted intermediary when they inevitably need to buy $100 million worth of border security drones.
And then Liber8 secures their cut through what they vaguely term as donations, ad space, or affiliate referral deals.
Exactly.
So you build the social network that foments the transition, and then you take an affiliate fee on the military hardware the new government buys to defend itself.
It's vertical integration on a geopolitical scale.
I have never seen a business model like it. They aren't just selling software as a service. They're attempting to monetize the entire life cycle of a geopolitical revolution.
Yes.
First the activism, then the actual transition of power, and then the state building itself.
It completely redefines what a tech company is actually allowed to be. And by the way, they do round out the monetization with more traditional SaaS plays, too.
Oh, like what?
Like selling enterprise software dashboards to NGOs and selling anonymized ethical data and AI insights on civic engagement.
Of course they're selling data.
So if you look at the whole picture, it's an incredibly diversified portfolio. They have consumer freemium revenue, mega sponsorships, B2B enterprise sales, data monetization, and defense industry affiliate deals.
Which brings us perfectly to the roadmap. Because having the idea is one thing, but the pitch explicitly outlines a strict timeline. The section is literally titled Roadmap to a $100 billion market valuation in 10 years.
They want to be a decacorn in a single decade.
Let's walk the listener through this step by step, because it is ambitious. It starts with years 0 to 2, which they call the foundation phase.
The first 2 years are all about laser-focused execution. They need to launch the MVP, the minimum viable product.
Just the core app.
Right. The most stripped-down core version of the app that still actually functions. Their goal here is to completely dominate that initial Iranian diaspora target market, aiming for hundreds of thousands of active, highly engaged users.
This is really the proving ground. If the tech fails here, if the people don't unite, the whole thing folds.
Exactly. During this phase, they aim to secure that initial $10 million seed round, land some early sponsorships, prove the revenue model actually works, and push their valuation from $100 million to over $1 billion.
They want unicorn status in 24 months.
That's the plan.
Then we hit years 3 to 5. This is the unicorn and expansion phase. So assuming they've proven the model can unite one single diaspora, they just duplicate it.
Copy and paste to other conflicts.
The text mentions rolling out multi-diaspora features. They deploy the full suite of autonomous AI agents. This is also when that South Africa customization is supposed to go live.
Right, to keep Elon happy.
Yeah, and when they expect those massive defense-adjacent deals to start closing, at this point, the projection is tens or hundreds of millions in revenue, pushing the valuation past $10 billion.
Then they enter years 6 to 8. They call this the Category King phase.
Category King.
This is where Liber8 transitions from being a tool just for dissidents into a tool for everyday global citizens.
So expanding to stable countries, too.
Yes. They project scaling to millions of users across established democracies, those AI political agents we talked about. The pitch assumes they become absolute must-have civic tools for anyone who wants to participate in local or national politics anywhere in the world.
So if you don't have an AI lobbyist, you're just getting outplayed by your neighbor who does.
Precisely. Enterprise contracts scale up massively, and they're potentially eyeing an IPO during this window.
And finally, years 9 to 10.
Yeah.
The $100 billion scale.
Mm-hmm.
The pitch uses a fascinating, terrifying phrase here.
I know exactly which one you're going to say.
It says the goal is to become the infrastructure for global civic engagement, like, quote, AWS for democracy plus meta-scale social impact.
AWS for democracy.
Explain that for the listener.
So Amazon Web Services, or AWS, provides the hidden essential server architecture that powers, honestly, half the modern internet.
Netflix, banking, everything.
Right. You don't always actively see AWS as a user, but if it goes down, the entire internet basically breaks.
Yeah, it's catastrophic.
Liber8 wants to be that.
Yeah.
The invisible, completely essential software layer that powers global democratic participation.
So what does this all mean? If you actually succeed in building the AWS of democracy, you have also just painted a massive glowing target on your own back.
Oh, 100%.
You aren't just competing with TikTok or Facebook for screen time at that point. You are actively threatening the existence of authoritarian regimes worldwide. How do they actually plan to survive that level of heat?
They do have a risk section.
Let's talk about the risks, because projecting a perfectly straight line to $100 billion without acknowledging the potholes is just venture capital fiction.
The pitch does outline several core vulnerabilities. The most glaring, obviously, is geopolitical and safety risk.
Obviously.
When you build tools specifically designed to destabilize autocracies, your servers, your employees, and your users become immediate targets for state-sponsored cyber warfare or actual physical violence.
People could die using this.
Yes. Their stated mitigation strategy relies on extreme privacy protocols, decentralized elements to prevent a single point of failure, and strict legal compliance in whatever their host countries are.
They also list fragmentation as a risk, which goes right back to our earlier point. Even with great tech, getting fiercely independent, historically opposed political factions to actually use the platform together is a monumental task.
It's like herding cats, but with geopolitical stakes.
Right. And they hope strong moderation and, quote, AI alignment tools will solve human stubbornness. Good luck with that. They also note regulation risks and competition.
The competition aspect is actually really interesting.
How so?
Their primary defense against a giant like Meta or Google just stealing the idea and crushing them is speed.
Just moving faster.
Yeah. They believe they absolutely have to be the first mover. They have to create the category itself and capture these highly passionate verticals before the legacy tech giants even realize what's happening.
They want a motive passion.
Exactly. They believe deeply in what they call their enablers for hypergrowth, specifically the high viral coefficient of passionate communities and their proprietary AI.
But to really understand why a single founder thinks they can outrun entire nation-states and tech monopolies, we need to zoom out a bit.
We need to look at the context.
Yes, we need to look at the surrounding ecosystem of the blog where this pitch was actually published, because the author, Paramendra Bhagat, includes a sidebar on the site listing his other published books and blogs.
And looking at those titles is incredibly illuminating.
It's like looking directly into the psychological operating system of the founder.
It's highly revealing. You read titles like The Speed Builders, How Humanity Can Deliver Mega Projects in Months, Not Decades.
Mega projects in months.
Okay.
He also has a book called 1,000 Solaras in 10 years.
Wait, what is a Solara? For context, a Solara is a term he seems to have coined himself for a trillion-dollar company, like a massive step above a unicorn.
$1 trillion.
Oh.
That is insane.
He has another book called Physical AWS, How the Logistics Cloud Will Reshape Global Commerce, and one called Calciism, The Economic and Spiritual Blueprint for an Age of Abundance.
So there is an absolute obsession here with massive scale, rapid acceleration, and basically planetary level engineering.
Definitely.
This Liber8 pitch isn't just a random app idea he had in the shower. It is the manifestation of a deeply held, almost utopian philosophy.
He looks at the messy, chaotic global infrastructure of human civilization and genuinely believes we can engineer this to be faster, more efficient, and infinitely larger.
It's technological determinism in its absolute purest form.
It is, and the blog gives us another fascinating layer of context right next to the pitch.
The news headlines.
Yes. Right alongside this pitch, there's a list of real-world news headlines pulled from that specific day, June 11th, 2026.
Let's read some of those because they paint a picture. You have a headline about the NOAA issuing El Nino advisories.
Climate instability.
You have the Indian Navy dealing with unexploded missiles off the coast of Oman.
Geopolitical tension.
You have headlines about Iran's attacks on Gulf states, which underscores dependence on the U.S.
And there are domestic ones, too.
Yeah, the Supreme Court making decisions on workers' voting rights, warnings about the fragile government in Somalia, and Donald Trump musing about the government taking equity in AI companies.
A lot of heavy news for one day.
And again, it is so important to state clearly to the listener, we are looking at these headlines simply as historical data points.
Right. We aren't evaluating the Supreme Court decisions or the Middle East conflict ourselves.
Not at all.
Yeah.
We are just looking at the specific geopolitical zeitgeist that surrounded the author on the exact day he hit publish.
Exactly. Because when you read those headlines, you see a world that feels incredibly volatile.
It feels like it's on the brink.
You have climate threats, unexploded ordnance, proxy wars, intense debates over who controls AI. When you understand that chaotic environment, you really understand why a founder might look out his window and conclude that DemocracyTech isn't just a clever SaaS product.
It's an urgent necessity to them.
Right. It makes a $100 million seed valuation seem almost reasonable if they genuinely believe the alternative is global instability.
It's just the perfect storm for this kind of pitch. It's a mirror reflecting both the profound anxieties of the year 2026 and the boundless, almost arrogant technological optimism of Silicon Valley.
They actually believe that human history, with all its messy wars and ideological strife, can just be optimized and stabilized if you just apply enough advanced software.
It's a breathtaking premise.
Yeah.
They're trying to turn the raw historical power of political liberation into a high-margin business model.
Breathtaking is the right word.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, the sheer scale of Liber8 is what really sticks with you. They want to be the hidden infrastructure of global democracy, utilizing autonomous agentic AI, fueled by the staggering wealth of diasporas, and creating revenue streams that span from grassroots crowdfunding all the way up to defend contractor affiliations.
It is a vision that is as brilliant in its structural logic as it is terrifying in its implications.
It truly is a paradigm shift in how we might conceive of civic action in the future.
And it leaves us with a profound, lingering question to consider.
Let's hear it.
We spent a lot of time today talking about that personal agentic AI, the bot that will tirelessly monitor the news, draft your angry letters, and simulate your political debates for you.
Your own personal digital lobbyist.
Right. But if an artificial intelligence becomes perfectly capable of articulating your political desires, organizing your campaigns, and executing civic strategies with vastly more efficiency, speed, and precision than you ever could.
Which it probably will.
Exactly. At what point does the AI stop being just a tool for democracy and start becoming the democratic representative itself?
Oh, wow.
If the algorithm is doing all the debating, all the drafting, all the organizing, who is actually in charge of the democracy? You or the code?
That is a very, very heavy thought to leave you with today. Thank you so much for joining us on this incredibly dense deep dive. We hope it gave you a completely new lens through which to view the collision of technology, global politics, and absolute startup ambition. Keep analyzing the blueprints of the future, keep questioning the systems around you, and we will catch you on the next one.